Carbone versus Carbone.
Kimberly, Renee, Carbone.
And Ms. Carbone, you and Mr. Christopher Anthony Carbone have been married for about 36 years, is that correct? Married in 1987?
Yeah, 37 years.
37 years.
Yes.
And did y'all have any children born of your marriage?
We have one child.
One child, and y'all have any grandchildren?
Two.
Two grandchildren. Y'all own the home at 117th Drive in Dixon, is that
Yes, ma'am.
correct? And that property was purchased during the marriage, is that right?
Yes.
And there is an outstanding mortgage owed on that home, is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
correct? Is that in the approximate amount of about $36,000, give or take?
Yes.
And do you know who that mortgage is owed to?
Bank of America.
Bank of America. And do you know what the monthly payments on that home are?
$638.
$638. You and he lived there for a good number of years, is that correct?
We bought it in 1997.
Okay. And you lived there up until approximately 2022?
Somewhere between July 5th and July 9th. He asked me to leave his home if I was not going to follow his rules. And every day he had new rules for me to follow.
And what, such as?
I was only allowed to talk to my friends once every other week. So twice a month I was allowed to talk to my friends. And I was allowed to go to work and straight home.
And where did you work?
Serval Pest Control in Dixon.
And that's where you continue work, right?
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
correct? And what did he do for a living?
Up until about 2001, he worked at Suman and Wire.
And after 2001, did he continue to work?
He actually got fired from Suman, and he just never went back to work. He just always worked on his own, like he kind of still does.
And doing what?
Working on vehicles.
Okay. And y'all have a garage there at the home, is that correct?
Yes.
And during the course of your marriage, he accumulated thousands of dollars worth of mechanics tools and other tools?
Yes.
So you
I'm
have to,
gonna object to the leading.
I'll rephrase the question.
Sustain.
Can you describe the tools that he has acquired during the marriage?
There's probably not a tool that he does not own. He's got, when you walk in the garage, he's got a spot about this. I don't know tools, but the whole one wall is nothing but tool boxes. Then the front of it's like a workbench and stuff. It's got everything, and he's just, there's just enough room to walk through his garage. He pretty much has any tool you can think of.
And typically, are those mostly mechanic tools?
Yes.
Okay. And he does, you heard the term shade tree mechanic?
Yes, I have.
And what has he done to earn money during the course of y'all's marriage?
He has worked on different people's vehicles, charging cash and stuff.
And you have seen that throughout the course of your marriage, where they've been at your home in the front, in the driveway?
Yes, ma'am.
And did he do that repeatedly and continually?
Yes.
And did he draw an income from that?
Yes.
Now, you and he, how long has it been since y'all filed a joint tax return?
The last 2 years, we have been separated the last 2 years, so I filed married, but filed separately. And up until that point, we always filed together.
Okay, but then how did he use the cash that he generated from these numerous repairs that he did?
Just whatever Chris wanted.
Okay, but it assisted in paying the mortgage and doing the utilities and things like that, or how did y'all
Well-
divide out your expenses?
While I was living in the home, he paid the mortgage, which was $638, and he paid the cell phone bill. I paid car insurance and all of the utilities.
And then who bought groceries and things like that?
I bought groceries, any like laundry soap, anything purchased at Walmart, I paid for all of that. And if we went out to eat, he would pay for that when we went out to eat.
Okay, so he had income.
Yes, ma'am.
And then so from like 2001, from when he quit working up and until he applied for and received some disability, is that correct?
Objection to leading.
It's not suggesting the answer to the witness.
Overruled.
Did
he apply for some type of disability?
Yeah, he did. He went through the advocate
Okay.
and applied for it.
And did he develop some type of a medical condition during the course of your marriage here, most recently, some type of a cancer?
Last year, I found out that he had prostate cancer.
Do you know what type of treatment he went through?
He had surgery. Nobody's allowed to tell me anything, but I know he had surgery, and there was nobody to take care of him, so they were going to put him in a nursing home. I offered to go home and take care of him, and he said that he didn't want to see my face or hear my voice. So
Were you able to reside at the home without fear of retribution from him?
No.
Tell me what would happen. Was there any type of physical abuse?
Physical, mental, verbal, you name it.
How would he be physical with you?
Well, after he became, early in the marriage, he hit a lot. When I was pregnant with my daughter, my sister walked in the room and he was actually sitting on my stomach hitting me with both fists. And my sister tried to grab him off of me and he turned around and kicked her and knocked her into the wall.
Judge, I'm gonna object. This is a Paternity hearing. We're going into fault and all kinds of stuff here, Judge.
You know, we're asking for possession of the marital residence and alternative a division of the marital debt. So again, the fact of her removing herself from the home and why she did it and why, if she wants to go back into the home, I think is perfectly relevant.
Can I respond to that?
Yes, please.
I mean, if the purpose of the Paternity hearing is to maintain the status quo, we've already established she moved out of the house in 2022.
Purpose
All
of the
these,
temporary Paternity hearing is not maintain the status quo. If the status quo is completely unacceptable to one side, that would give every person, one spouse, the right to kick the other one out and say, well, I want to maintain the status quo by having them at a disadvantage. Instead, I think you have to understand that a temporary hearing or a Paternity hearing is designed for the court to make orders regarding how these parties are going to live on a temporary basis. So I disagree with your characterization. And Ms. Roberts is attempting to introduce evidence to show why she and Mr. Carbone cannot reside in the same home, so I will allow it. But it is also something that's happened in the past rather than what's the present, so.
And that was what you're talking about things. Your daughter's how old?
She's 36.
Okay, you're talking about something that happened 37 years ago. I wish bring it more recent. You stayed with a man who beat you while you were pregnant.
Yeah, yes, I
Okay.
did.
So why? We're not going to get into that now. Let me strike that question. Why did you move out in 2022 other than the fact that you've already testified that he wouldn't let you have free reign of your cell phone or go anywhere else without telling him?
He
there
was
physical abuse.
very controlling. I got cussed at. We couldn't pass each other in the house without there being some kind of altercation. He just made my life, can I say it in here, living hell.
Okay.
Yeah.
When was the last time that he became physically abusive to you? Did he lay hands on you in a manner that you found threatening?
Well, I haven't been there in a while, but October of 22, I tried getting back in the house to get some winter clothes because when he threw me out in July, I took like summer clothes and flip-flops and sandals with me when I packed. And October, I went back in to try to get some winter clothes, and he kept hitting the closet door and slamming my fingers in the door and stuff, telling me I wasn't taking anything.
Okay. And these are your clothes?
Yes.
And I mean, he's not a cross-dresser, is he?
No.
Wouldn't have any reason to have your clothes, underwear, things like
No.
that,
And
that you know of at this point in time?
Yeah, and that was in October, and I tried taking like a couple Christmas decorations and stuff, and he threw one heck of a fit and he told me I wasn't taking anything out of his house.
Okay. And since that time, have you even made an effort to try to go back?
No, ma'am.
We filed a motion for you to get possession of the home. Where are you living right now?
I am staying with my mother in an apartment in Dixon.
Okay. And is that at your mother's apartment? Or
Yes.
have you leased it?
It's my mother's.
You're staying at your mother's apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
And we've asked to have possession of the home. Do you want him to move out and you to get back in the home?
Yes.
And if he does that and the mortgage is current, are you able to make the mortgage payment?
Yes.
And again, he has filed a response and stated that he's unable to work. Do you know of your own personal knowledge that he is still doing mechanic work?
Not offhand, I don't. I know he's had 2 surgeries since I've been out of the house. He had the surgery for prostate cancer, and then a month or so ago, he had knee surgery. I've been trying to talk him into having that knee surgery for probably 15 to 20 years now, and he would never have it.
To your knowledge, was he approved for Social Security disability?
Mm-hmm.
And how old is the man?
He is 57.
And your 57-year-old husband, who you've been married to for 37 years, is currently having an affair. Is that correct?
Yes,
with a
31-year-old.
31-year-old neighbor, woman who lives next door to at his mother's, at a mother's home, is that correct?
Yes.
And what is that person's name?
Brianna
Okay, and,
Whittington or something.
okay. And you and he have a joint credit card, one joint, other than the mortgage,
Yes,
y'all have one joint credit card, is that correct?
yes.
And who is that through?
The credit union.
Okay, Cornerstone Credit Union here in
Yes.
Dixon, and is that a Visa?
Yes,
Have you, and you're on that account?
yes.
Have you acquired copies of that account to show where he is spending significant amounts of money going to ICE during the winter months and
Yes.
holidays, carrying his girlfriend and her children to ICE and paying for it in your
Objection
name?
to leading.
What have you looked at in looking at your credit card payments? What kind of expenditures is he making?
Fast food, gas stations. I know he paid her storage building in like almost $900, I think, in Murfreesboro, where she still has some of her stuff stored. He's got stuff on there from the courts that I'm not sure exactly what it's for.
Gaylord, Opryland,
Yes.
Objection leading.
Sustained.
has he, any facilities, any hotels or recreation events in Davidson County, has he incurred expenses on?
Gaylord Opryland Hotel, ICE, and then there was a parking fee of like $26 some, something like that.
Are there hotels?
Opryland Resort.
Are there other restaurants, various and sundry restaurants?
Oh, there's so many restaurants on there, from McEwen Steakhouse, all kinds of restaurants.
I want to pass you, now, ask you, did you receive a printout from Cornerstone of to the latest
Yes.
pay things that have been used? Have you used that credit card in any way?
I have never had a card to this account.
But your name is on it?
Yeah, he's got me as a co-signer,
Okay.
and I went to, the bank, I'm like, I never signed to have my name on this, and they said that they didn't have any of the original paperwork because from where they moved from one building to another.
And what is the current balance on that account?
It's showing $6,611.
And is it evidence of only minimum payments are being made?
Yes, he pays $200 a month, and I see where there's been a couple late ones where he's got like $35 late fees.
And you have, you work where?
Cerebral Pest Control.
And you have assisted me in preparing an income and expense statement, is that correct?
Yes.
Well, if officer would pass that, if he'll pass one to the court. Your Honor, we would move that, the breakdown of the credit card in as the first exhibit.
All right, motion is exhibit 1.
Ma'am, I've told you, if you'll just give her the income and expense statement and let him, I'm about to have it so you can pass it to the judge. If you'll hold on to it just 1 second. The income and expense, okay? Ms. Carbone, you've assisted me and you filled out an income and expense statement for me, is that correct?
Yes.
And we've typed that up for an exhibit today. And if you look over that, does that adequately and accurately reflect what your income is at $2,600 a month?
Yes.
And then you have got expenses. Are you paying your mother $200 to live there?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you have a telephone expense and other expenses associated therewith. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
You have a automobile note to Bank of America, $494. During the course of the time after you were kicked out of the house, did you have to purchase a new vehicle?
Yes, I did. Last July.
What vehicle were you driving before you purchased it?
02 Jeep Grand Cherokee.
And that was a vehicle that was purchased during the marriage?
Yes.
And what happened with that vehicle?
He, for several months, he stalked me. He's probably got 200 pictures of me going in and out of different places, and he kept messing with the car because he wouldn't give me his keys and stuff to it. And it was flooding. Found 2 screws in the pipe thing that drains for the sunroof there was a screw in each side with like caulking, and it would rain hard. I'd have like 3 inches of water in my Jeep. The air condition went out, the transmission quit shifting,
And so you had to purchase another vehicle?
yes,
And as a result of that, your credit was checked?
yes,
And as a result of the late payments and the credit card amount, was your credit score less?
At the time I purchased my vehicle last July, my credit score was 838,
And it is now what?
766.
And again, the credit card and the late payments are significant, is that correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, we would move her income and expense statement in as the next exhibit.
All right.
Got two.
Two. Exhibit 1 was the credit card statement.
Exhibit 1 is the
Exhibit
credit card statements.
2. That's number
2.
1. And then and again, during the course of this separation, have you attempted, other than that one time you attempted to go retrieve things, is that correct? Have there been other occasions that you've had conversations with him about,
We text a couple times, but
have
it
you been
got,
able to gain access to get any of the things that are uniquely personal?
no,
Clothing,
no.
toiletry items?
He keeps telling people that I have nothing in that house. There's nothing left in there that's mine.
Well, when you left, was there things there?
Oh, yeah.
Are you concerned that maybe he might be telling the truth and you not have things there?
That's a possibility with Chris. It really is.
Okay, but you did have things that were uniquely personal. Did you have like your high school diploma and things like that there?
Yes, my diplomas, I've got everything. I mean, I left with a suitcase of clothes because he wanted me out of his house.
And were you in fear?
Well, I did fear him, yeah, because he's kind of violent, but he,
You left more because of peace of mind.
yeah, I mean, he just made my life unbearable.
And you want possession of the home back.
Yes,
Okay. And again, if you get possession of the home, if the court deems it appropriate for you to get that, you can make the payment.
yes,
You want it brought current as of the end of May, is that right? He's
Yes.
been in the home. And are you asking that he be obligated to cease and desist incurring any debt in your name, including that credit card, which is the Visa through Cornerstone?
yes, ma'am.
And make timely payments on that, and at least until we can get back into court, make sure that the timely payments are made.
Yes.
And is that the division of assets that you want? I mean, division of debt?
That is the only thing that's got both of our names on it.
You
Cause
just want to make sure it's paid timely and
yeah, cause it's affecting my credit.
It is.
And I would like for that balance not to go any higher.
and him to no longer incur any debt on it.
Right.
And if he pays the minimum monthly or more,
Objection, lady.
do you believe that if he pays the minimum, I was rephrasing the question. Do you believe that just making him pay the minimum monthly is sufficient to secure your credit?
Well, I would love for him to pay it off and then be off my credit.
But at the very least, today, for this purposes hearing, you want to make sure the payments are paid on time?
Yes, yes.
And when can you move back into the home?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Okay. Is it your desire to refinance the home and keep it and buy it out from him?
Yes.
And you have a job and you're able to do that? Have you been able to go and inspect the home and seeing what condition it's in?
I have not been in the house,
But
no.
have you driven by?
I have drove by several times.
Does the condition of the home as it presents from the outside cause you concern?
From the front of the house, no. There are a lot of vehicles in the driveway that I have no idea whose vehicles they are. It's not just his vehicle in that driveway. Last time I went by, there was probably 5 or 6 vehicles.
But
in the
once you
driveway.
gain possession of the home, you believe you can take steps to refinance the debt that's jointly owed
Yes,
and to buy him out of any equity. Is that correct?
yes.
That's all, Your Honor.
Mr. Baker, you may cross-examine.
Okay. Yeah, I need to say.
Ms. Carbone? agree if you refinance that mortgage payment's gonna go up, isn't it?
I'm sure it will.
Right now, if you're divorced, I mean, looking just at your income and expense sheet, you couldn't pay the mortgage as it is right now?
Well, I probably have to work a second job.
Okay,
But, I mean, have you seen the prices of real estate these days?
I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is, just looking, at what you got here, I don't see the cash flow to even buy out at this point. But that's your plan.
I'd have to refinance it.
Well, that would make the payment go up even higher. Okay, but your plan's to get another job.
I'd probably have my mother move in with me.
Gotcha, okay. All right, now, and there's no dispute, Mr. Carbone is disabled, correct? Do you know how much he draws a month in disability?
I do not. We have had separate checking accounts for over 20 years now because I was never allowed to spend his money.
Okay, now I want to go back to 2022. You said you moved out in 2022. Since that time, have you been living with your mom the whole time? Okay. Any problems that's working out okay?
Me and my mother get along just fine.
Oh. Well, I was talking more about with your husband, Mr.
Oh. For the first several months, he stalked me. I mean, he literally, everywhere I went, his friend owns a car lot. So I never knew what he was going to be driving. And he was like everywhere I went taking pictures of me. And he has showed me several of the pictures he took. But then when Brianna moved in next door and he started seeing Brianna, he left me alone. So, and people ask why I haven't went back to my house to get anything.
Right.
It's because I don't want the confrontation with her or him.
Well, tell me about Brianna. Who was she?
A girl that moved in next door with her mom. I mean, I've never met her. My grandchildren talk about her all the time.
Well, how would you know that they're having a relationship?
Because he introduces her to everybody as his girlfriend. And
Did he introduce you to as her? Did he introduce her to you as his girlfriend?
I've never met her, no.
Okay, so you don't have any firsthand knowledge of that. You're just going what other people tell you.
Well, yes.
Okay. All right, now, you said that, or you're under the impression that there's some rings missing. Can you tell me about that?
My wedding rings, he stole them out of my purse, out of my car.
When did that happen?
Last time I went to the house to get anything, he stole my cell phone and my wedding rings.
When was that?
Actually, it was August 1st, 2022 that he stole that stuff, to be exact.
And, well, what took between 2022 and 2024 to file for divorce?
Money.
Okay. So you didn't
I knew I
contact-
wanted Jennifer as my attorney, and I could have got an attorney probably for less money, but Jennifer's the best.
Okay, so you didn't, so this was a situation where nothing was urgent, you just wanted a specific lawyer, so you was gonna wait it out.
I got too loud. I apologize.
Apparently I missed something.
You missed that one.
Judge, Mr. Baker, I accused him of being jealous. It was an inappropriate comment on my part, and I apologize to the court. Not to Mr. Baker, but to Your Honor, I do.
Okay, but there was nothing urgent pressing with the marital issues, you had time to wait. Was it a fair statement? Because you
Well,
wanted
he was
this-
leaving me alone, I was leaving him alone.
Okay, so there was nothing going on really between 23 and 24 that's pressing?
Not after he quit stalking and stuff now.
Gotcha. All right, now, you do agree that Mr. Carbone's not able to work, correct?
No, I guess not. But I know he does on vehicles.
Well, he's not able to work a job.
Right.
Is that a fair statement?
Right.
Okay. All right, now, where would Mr. Carbone go, knowing his situation, if he had to move out?
He'd have to do what I had to do and find somewhere to go.
Yeah, but you're already moved out, correct?
All of my stuff is still in that house.
Well,
I'm not moved out yet.
Well, you're not physically living there for the last 2 years.
Right.
But Mr. Carbone has been, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you just want to move in there to put pressure on him, correct?
No,
Well, how could he possibly find another place to live in the same? Don't know. Does that sound fair, given the circumstances?
is it fair that I got thrown out of my house because I wouldn't follow his rules? No.
How did you get thrown out? Did you call the police and report them?
I called the police and they said there's nothing they can do.
Did he-
When he stole my rings and my cell phone, I called the police. They said there was nothing they can do. But they told me that I had the right to walk in that house and stay in that house, but he made my life living hell. So I chose to avoid that.
So instead of coming to divorce court, you decide, I'm gonna move out, and then I'm gonna wait 2 years for Miss Roberts to be my lawyer because my life was made a living hell. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, we were separated and he wasn't bothering me at the time, so I didn't get in no big hurry.
So the fact is, you just wanted to move out now because of the inconvenience it's in, correct?
Objection asked and answered.
Abstain.
Then what other purpose could there be?
Because it's my house.
You can't, well.
It's my house too. My name's on it.
Haven't we already agreed you can't pay for the house?
I'd find a way.
Objection, fact's not in evidence. I don't know that they've
The
agreed
question
on
was, we've
anything.
already established that you can't pay. Mr. Baker asked her about how she was going to pay for the house with using the figures on her income and expense statement, but she answered him saying she would get a second job. So the question has been asked and answered. She intends to get, in other words, the question you said she can't pay, she can't afford the house, is not something that's been established. She says she can afford it by getting a second job.
Let me rephrase. You have a
Sustain the
second job,
question.
right? You have a
Sustain
second
the
job?
objection, you can rephrase your question.
Do you have a second job right now?
No,
So you, and right now, you can't even pay for the house based on your income and expense sheet.
I would find a way. And like I said, I'd have a roommate move in with me.
Okay, so you don't really need any support then, because you can find a way.
I have to.
No further questions, Judge?
Roberts, redirect.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. You may sit down.
It's our
Roberts,
proof.
you may call your next witness.
That's our proof, Your Honor.
The plaintiff has rested her proof on this motion. Mr. Baker, do you wish to offer any proof?
I do. I'd call Chris Carbone to the stand.
Mr. Carbone, if you'll come up, please, and have a seat in the witness stand.
Catch your breath. You need a minute?
Yeah. Chris Carbone,
Who are you married to?
Kimberly R. Carbone,
And where were y'all living, last place you lived together?
117 Friar Tuck.
All right, and do you still live there?
Yes,
All right,
for 2 years.
all right. Mr. Carbone, tell me what your physical situation is right now.
With my body,
Correct.
I had prostate cancer, had it removed, and I had just got done with my right leg, new knee replacement.
All right. Well, how long have you been having mobility problems?
15 years.
10 years? All right, and can you tell the court what happened in 22 when your wife moved out?
Well, she started going to the bars and staying out to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning
Right.
every weekend.
And what impact did that have on you?
She wasn't home and for me, to do stuff or nothing.
And when you had the prostate surgery, who was caring for you at that time?
I did it by myself.
Did your wife offer to?
No,
So if she testified she offered to care for you, is there any truth to that?
no,
Okay. And that prostate surgery, do you know when that occurred?
no.
Now, have you ever assaulted your wife? Physically assaulted your wife?
No,
Are you able to assault your wife?
probably not.
Okay. And Mr. Carbone, what sources of income do you have?
Social Security,
How much you draw on Social Security?
17. That's after they take out for medical
Okay, is 1740 after medical?
total. right now.
Total, okay.
So I get more, I guess, I don't know. I didn't do the math.
Okay, that's the number you get after your medical. Okay, I understand. All right, now, how much is your mortgage payment?
662.
All right, tell me the situation going on with your credit card. Can you tell me what's happening with that?
I got three. I got Lowe's, I got my, some other kind of credit card and my credit union credit card.
All right, specifically, I think it's a credit union card, the Visa. What's going on with that? Do you know what the balance is?
5,000 or 6,000.
Okay. And where did those charges come from?
When I get low on money, I use that card, and so, because I don't have no money.
Okay. All right, so that's how that balance got that high? But, so your wife, she didn't put any of those charges on?
No.
Okay. You know what that money went for?
Gas, food, wear and tear, tires.
Did you stay at the Gaylord
No.
one time?
Oh, I went there on ice, but not staying. We went for ice.
Okay, and what's ICE?
You go one time a year and you see all these feet, all these things made out of ice.
Oh, the sculptures, gotcha, okay. And, Mr. Carbone, you've asked for possession of the house. Would you have any place else to go?
No, don't have no family. I don't have nothing here.
You have, where is your closest relative?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
All right. Since Ms. Carbone moved out in 22, have y'all been having any problems?
No. She would text me out of the blue here and there.
All right, what would she be texting you about?
Just different stuff. I can't remember.
Okay. Did you physically throw Ms. Carbone out of the house in 2022?
No, she left on her own.
All right, what was the situation with that?
He said I told her about her being controlling, but I wasn't being controlling. I was being controlling for what she was doing wrong. On Fridays and Saturdays, going to VFW and going to Derringer's every Friday and Saturday. So I said, we have to change this. This has to change. And she didn't agree to nothing. So she said she was mad and she wasn't going to buy my rose and she left.
Well, when did that start? When did she start doing this going out?
Probably right before, probably a little bit before Mother's Day.
Of 22?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Carbone, are you able to pay your household bills?
Yes.
All right.
I got behind a little, so I let my gas bill got a little too high, so I paid half, then I paid another quarter to catch up on it, because gas bill, now it's summertime, so I should get caught up on it.
Okay. What about the mortgage payment? Does it get?
It's automatic, it comes out of my check automatically.
Is that your social security check? Okay, or
Right
out of the bank?
Yes. Comes right out instantly.
Judge, I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Roberts, you may cross-examine.
How old are you, sir?
57,
And isn't it true that you got fired from your last regular job at Sumiton back in what year?
it's me. I don't keep track of that.
It's 2001?
Maybe,
So effectively, you haven't worked in over 20 years.
yes.
But you did work at home.
I did work, yes.
You have a vast amount of tools and things in your garage,
Yes,
including computers that are diagnosis computers.
Yes.
And you have customarily and routinely repaired automobiles in and around your home.
yes.
And if we drove out there, if I had a picture of your home today, how many vehicles are in your driveway right now?
Oh, about 4
Whose are they?
next door neighbors, friends, they dropped them off.
For what reason?
East Main, you have to ask them.
Well, why are you letting 7 or 8 vehicles be set cluttering up your property?
I don't care.
Because you don't care.
Right.
And you've let the home is deteriorated, isn't that correct?
Well, I do what I have to do for the money I got, yes.
Okay. But when did you just had your knee replacement surgery, isn't that correct?
Yes.
And so your ability to walk as you come in here, who did your surgery?
Dr. Saul,
Sob
yeah,
at Horizon. Okay. And how long ago did you have your knee replacement surgery?
at least a month ago or so,
Are
2
you-
months.
Are you doing physical therapy?
Yes.
Where were you today?
Nashville,
Doing what?
killing time,
With who?
myself.
Nobody else?
No,
Why did you go to Nashville knowing you had a court hearing today?
I didn't know. My court hearing was Friday.
You understand your attorney filed a motion for you to,
Yeah. He told me and my sister a court date was Friday.
and you were in Nashville just driving around.
I had to go to Enterprise, yes, just to swing by,
What did you go to Enterprise for?
just to look at something and come back.
Well, what do you look at Enterprise?
I had to get some ice machine.
An ice machine?
Yeah.
For what?
So I get some ice for later.
An ice machine, a replacement to put in a refrigerator or a freestanding ice machine?
Just get a bucket of ice.
You drove to Nashville to get a bucket of ice?
Yeah.
How do you have money to drive to Nashville to get a bucket of ice if you can't make your gas payment?
I used my credit card.
Who's, the credit card on what? Which one?
Mine.
You understand your wife is on the Cornerstone credit card?
Yes, she wasn't supposed to be, but yeah,
She is.
yeah.
And that's the credit card you drove, you put gas in your car and drove to
Not yet,
Nashville to buy ice, is that correct?
No, not yet. It's on E right now.
It's what?
My fuel gauge is on E right now.
Okay, but you drove to Nashville to get ice.
Yeah.
Judge, that's been asked and answered.
Sustained.
And you didn't do anything else in Nashville, and
No.
nobody was with you.
Oh,
Who is Brianna?
she's my helper from next door.
Not your paramour, not your girlfriend?
No.
Why did you buy, she got arrested for driving on a revoked license, and why did you pay her fines and cost?
I got a heart, and that's my heart.
So you've got
I help
a
out everybody.
31-year-old woman who's living next door to you. Does
She asked me
she
for
stays
help.
at your home, doesn't she?
No,
Never spent the night over there?
no, not one time. She comes over and helps when I had to do my bandages on my leg. When I got cut on the side, she come over, take care of it, and go back home. She never stayed, never not once spend the night.
But she's the one you carried the ice, and her 3 kids? Is that right? She went with you to this ice
No.
product, you went by yourself?
Yeah, I said I did, yeah.
Nobody else went with you? There's not photographs of you and the kids up there?
No,
She didn't meet you up there?
no,
You sure?
yeah,
Understand you're under oath under penalty of perjury?
yeah.
You don't want to change your story? You don't want to change your story with who was with you today in Nashville?
I was by myself.
By yourself to go buy ice. But you paid this Brianna, what's her last name?
I don't even know.
A woman that you don't know's last name, you paid how much money for her fines and costs when she got arrested and bailed her out of jail?
She's gonna pay me back, like always.
How much did you pay?
I don't know.
And you used a credit card in your wife's name.
Yeah. My credit card too.
And there's various and sundry other charges on there where you're carrying this Brianna out to dinner. Correct?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you spend $84 at Waffle House?
I had my grandkids. I got grandkids. They come on weekends with me and hang with me.
So you had money available to provide for somebody else.
On my credit card, yes.
On your credit
I
card.
pay my credit card. I
But
pay
you-
every month $200.
But you've been late.
Yes, I have.
And over the past 2 years, you've increased that credit card significantly, haven't you?
I try, I look at my situation I'm in. I'm by myself.
Okay. But you haven't worked at a public job and had any income from 2001 when you got fired at Sumiton up until you got Social Security, correct?
Yeah.
When did you apply and get Social Security? When did you get your disability? When was it awarded to you?
Don't know.
You don't know? Last week, 5 weeks ago, 7 years
know.
ago? Did you prepare an income and expense statement today to present to the court?
Yes.
Where is it?
I emailed it to him.
You haven't produced on your direct examination any expenses other than what you've testified to, is that correct? Is that correct?
I don't know what that means.
Okay. Did you stalk your wife?
No.
Did you follow her and take a bunch of pictures of her while she was out and about after she left?
Yes.
You damaged the Jeep that she was
No.
driving? You sure?
I'm positive.
You didn't drill holes in the
I
sunroof?
don't have to.
Beg pardon?
I don't.
You didn't have to, is
No,
your answer?
I didn't do nothing. Jeep's at my house, there ain't not one, it's not one thing done.
When she had the Jeep and she left, did you damage the Jeep in some way?
No,
When she came back to the house to get clothing, did you deny her access to get clothing?
no,
You did not slam her hand in the door?
no,
Did you deny her access to get any Christmas decorations and things such as that?
no,
So she's free to go over, she can move back in tomorrow?
no,
It's her house.
yeah.
Why can't she move back in?
But she left for 2 years.
Okay. Well, she says because you were ugly to her, physically abusive, yelled and made her life, in her words, a living hell.
I told you what I said.
Okay.
What she started to do,
Well, if she was going out on a Friday and Saturday night, she was,
every Friday and Saturday.
okay, well, she was working every Monday through Friday. Providing, was she the only one providing financial support for the family?
My social security.
Well, see, no, you don't know when you got your social security.
Okay.
So when did you get now that you know that when she was living there and going out, you were getting your social security, is that what you're saying, sir?
No.
So you got social security over 2 years ago?
Oh, it's been long longer, but I don't know no dates.
You don't know the dates?
Right.
So how long were you getting it before she left?
I don't know the dates, or I would tell you. You understand? I don't know the dates.
Well, she left in July of 2022. Is that right? So you
I
know you
don't
were
know
getting
that
it.
either. I don't mark nothing down. I'm dyslexic, and I ain't good with numbers. I've been in special ed all my life, so, I mean, if you want to keep on picking at me, that's fine. But I ain't real smart up there, but, you do what you have to do.
Okay. So I'm just trying to figure out
I
where your
don't know no
money.
dates.
Okay, finish what you want to say.
I'm done. I don't know no dates.
All I'm trying to figure out, sir, is how long you have had a source of income. You got fired in 2021. That's what your wife testified to. So you had no public job and you had no income, correct?
Right.
Other than the fact that you were, for lack of a better way to put it, a shade tree mechanic. You got cash, correct?
Yes.
And so that was the only source of your income.
Right. For
And,
the,
and then you, at some point in time, you applied for Social Security disability.
yes,
And you went through a company here in Dixon called The Advocate.
yes.
And they applied for you based on what type of disability?
100% disability.
What was the type of the disability? Why, did you have a bad back? Was it because of the cancer?
My legs and my mental state of being special ed and dyslexic.
Okay. So you did that before you got prostate cancer or after?
I didn't know I had it till after.
Okay, so you had already gotten your disability after you got a diagnosis of prostate cancer. And how long ago was your surgery for your prostate cancer?
Year and a half, I say.
Year and a half ago.
I don't know the dates again.
Okay, and then just a month or so ago, you had your knee replaced.
Yes.
And are you starting your physical therapy?
Yes. From home.
Okay, and you have and so you're not able to do your mechanic work, although you got like 7 or 8 cars sitting in your driveway.
Objection, asked and answered.
Sure, it's actually been answered in that. Let me see counselor on the corner, please.
I know, I have no ability to whisper.
For the record, I wanted to make both the attorneys, and I'm stating this on the record, that I wanted to make both the attorneys aware of the fact that it appeared to me, maybe I should have announced it earlier, but Serval actually services my house and sprays for pests at my house. I've never met this lady and don't have any relationship with Serval other than they sometimes send out gentlemen, but I have a duty and obligation to make you aware that there is some professional relationship with their company, so.
And Your Honor, again, it's not an issue on us if Your Honor doesn't think it is. She actually advised that she actually deals with Mr. Baker too, that she services Mr. Baker's home.
I thought he was my buddy.
What you need to do is you need to give us more pest control
I
traps.
love calling you once a year, I'm not now.
So ultimately, Judge, the scenario being, and I don't mind if the
Look,
Honor,
let me
if Your
just-
Honor will allow, okay.
I'm just gonna tell you this. I'm not likely to put this gentleman out of his house. Not to cut you off, I'm gonna let you put on whatever proof you want, but on a temporary basis, I'm not likely to order he be vacated. But neither one of these people can afford to keep this house. I mean, it's got $36,000 mortgage against it. It's gotta be worth considerably more than that in today's market. And with some cleanup, it's got a shop building on it, so I'm sure that it's probably worth over 100,000. So we're looking at 70,000, and neither of them has the ability, in my opinion, to buy the other one out. And I speak to Mr. Baker as well as you and to your clients. So where we're headed, since we have a limited time this afternoon, is he's going to remain in the house. He's going to be under a court order to pay the payments on a timely basis. I'm going to order him not to incur any additional debt on any joint obligation, and I'm going to order that the house be appraised. And if you want it appraised, or else we'll just go ahead and order that it be put on the market to be sold, or we can auction it. Now I'll leave that to y'all to determine what the best way is, but neither of them can afford to keep it. So eventually it's coming that Mr. Carbone is going to have to vacate the house. So it's just a question of how that. The only other question would be, these tools and other equipment that are marital property need to be appraised. There'll be a restraining order that'll prevent him from liquidating any of those assets until we can have an appraisal done, and that includes photographs, inventory of the type of pool. He says it's extensive. He agreed with you that it was a vast amount of tools. So that, in my opinion, needs to be done. There are people out, and probably Mr. Trice, who can give you a pretty good idea, since he sells those kinds of things on a regular basis, of the value of those tools. And under those circumstances, you're looking at having to have an appraisal, and we may end up having to have an auction of those items as well. And if we can't balance the equities, if he wants to keep them, it doesn't appear to me, based on observing him here, that he has the ability to work on a car, unless he's malingering as he tries to come through the courtroom. But I can't imagine that he's able physically to do that. So those are the issues as I see it, and it's just a question of how do we sell it. It's going to have to also be cleaned up and made presentable to either auction or to sell.
Your Honor, I would request that we, unless there's an objection, that we list the home with Mr. Trice. He has a wonderful track record of going in, and if they can't afford to do it, he certainly has a team that goes in there and does it to get ready for sale. If he thinks it can be auctioned at a higher price than what it'll be sold for, but I would trust Mr. Trice's opinion. We can hire him to do an appraisal of the property, and then give Mr. Carbone the option, once we know what the equity is going to be in the house. If he wants to keep his tools, he can buy her out from the appraised value. But I don't see the necessity of spending $500 to get an appraisal on the house.
Well, that was
I would rather sell it and if Mr. Trice believes an auction is available, if it's good, or whether it should be listed for a period of time and then auctioned, and that would be what it is. And again, as Your Honor, I was saying, when Mr. Carbone didn't show up, it was a situation on where I felt that I needed to ask for possession of the home because we did not know. But again, it's not an issue to make him leave at this point in time. My client has a home that she's living in. She just wants the availability of her interest in that home before it devalues anything else, and with the provision that he cannot incur any other debt on that cornerstone, and he has to make the timely payments on that cornerstone obligation. We're fine with Your Honor's ruling. If
Mr. Baker, do you have anything you want to add to it?
Judge, I don't think I've got any objection to that in principle.
Let's have Mr. Carbone then step down. Mr. Carbone, you go ahead and start making your way back. All right, then under those circumstances, this is the order of the court. Mr. Carbone, you want to keep talking?
Well, I wanted to say that given Mr. Carbone's situation, I have to deal with his sister in Pennsylvania. If we'll give us a little time in here, maybe 2 weeks, before I don't want to jump the gun and just list it, so I can talk to them and see if there is a way where he might be able to buy out with help.
We're still going to have some sort of evaluation and that and the tools, so I'm going to go ahead and, here's the ruling I'm going to make. We're going to go ahead and give Mr. Carbone the temporary possession of the marital residence. That's where he's been living. Clearly, his physical condition does not allow, without any family in the area, to allow us to basically order him to immediately vacate. But it is coming, so he's going to start need to start making some preparations because marital property is to be divided equitably. So under those circumstances, I will order that he have temporary possession. He is to make all mortgage payments on this property on a timely basis. He is prohibited and restrained from incurring any additional debt on the credit cards or any other account that her name is jointly on. He is to cooperate and with Mr. Neil Trice of Charles Woodard Realty and Auctions, and Mr. Trice will be authorized by this court to visit the property and to determine at least a ballpark realtor's opinion of what he thinks the value of the property is. Mr. Trice will also be entitled to look at all of the auto repair equipment because the length of this marriage means that pretty much everything that they have together will be marital property. Because marital property is defined as all property, real or personal, that is accrued or obtained during the course of the marriage. And you've got a 38-year marriage, something like that, 36, 37-year marriage, so pretty much everything is going to be marital property. The fact that you are separated doesn't change that. You're still legally married, whether you realize that or not. So we're going to have Mr. Trice look at all of this auto repair equipment and give us somewhat of an evaluation as best he can so that we can determine how to best settle the equities. And then I'll give you parties, obviously, time to do that. But if the parties cannot come to an agreement within a reasonable period of time, then I authorize Mr. Trice to sell the property in the manner that he deems to be most effective in obtaining the best commercially reasonable price. That may be at this time of year an auction, simply because of the fact that the auctions these days are bringing premium prices on everything. And this time of year, auctions generate huge crowds. So I've been to an auction. I lost my mind one day at an auction and bought a farm that I didn't need. But it does happen. So people do those kinds of things. I now live on that farm, so it's not such a bad thing, but it is a situation. That was when Charles Woodard was the actual realtor.
I bought a house for my first house for Mr. Woodard.
So what we're going to do is put that temporary order down and leave those things in a status quo type situation. And then we're going to see if we can't get these parties to where they can resolve all their issues without having to come back to court. So,
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. I'll draft that order and submit it to
thank you.
Mr. Baker for his approval.
All right. Good luck to you both, Mr. and Mrs. Carbone.